Morning, everybody. Cute for Teams, champions using Teams effectively. Ricardo and Stacy here. Nash may be joining. And despite me messing up the link this morning, you guys still found it. I'm glad. And so we can still chat it up about Teams and all those kind of cool things. So as people are trickling in, for those that are already here, if you've got came with a burning question, now's the time to come off mute or go in the chat. Let us know. That's what we're here for. We had some random topics, we were going to talk about. I had a little OneNote thing. Stacy talked about some RTMP. I think I got that right, the right order.
Yeah.
So if those are of interest, we can kind of go in there. But again, I'm just pausing for a hot second, see if anybody wants to jump in with anything specific that you came here for. So I see some typing going on in the chat there.
Oh, good.
And by the way, so my little OneNote thing here, very basic, I put it in the category of kind of best practices with Teams and files and Teams. There's two different audiences of OneNote users. Those that kind of have started to use it because of Teams and Office 365 and kind of have been introduced to it in the more recent days when it has a lot of increased functionality. And then there's us old school OneNote users who've been using it for a while and are blown away by some of the current technology. So sometimes a demo like that I do here is impressive for some and a big whoop for others. So it's hard to see where that goes. So, but before I do that, I see the question about what MS build, Office build should people be on, which could be a layered question, because I think in GCC that might be a different version than commercial, but there's also the question of, are you fully on Office Pro Plus versus what we kind of call a perpetual license.
Yeah, and I'm thinking April is in Florida. I think there's probably a variety of Windows as well. I mean, I'm sure we have Windows 10. I don't know that many of the agencies have done Windows 11 yet. So, that's a good question.
Yeah, as an example, so actually, where am I? I have been in the wrong VM this whole time. So you guys were looking at my GCC VM. I was clicking around in my commercial one. So, but here in this GCC VM, if I go to Word, for instance, we'll at least see what this one is. I think no, that's not the way to go. Take me back here. And I think that would be, I don't have my zoom it on here, so that's really hard to see, but this is showing build 15.128.202.48. I know that's super small. I need to get zooming on this machine, but so version 2204. Again, this is a Gov tenant, and I'll do a check for updates. Seems to be up to date. So one could argue, again, it's just one tenant, but one could argue that that's the latest build. I don't have anything on here that limits me from getting versions. So apps for enterprise here.
Yeah, and I could check mine.
So this kind of implies, Office Pro Plus per se, the Office 365, always up to date.
Which April, that should be her agency as well. And I can confirm mine in my GCC tenant is also build 15128. You said.
So in the chat, looks
although
like
yours is 20248. And mine is a little bit behind at 202.24.
So hers is version 2108. Mine is 2204. So implies there is a version newer than what you've got there, April.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so it sounds like they're on different channels. I've seen that even central IT managed orgs where the agencies could be on some semi-annual and some other folks could be on monthly or something like that. So
yeah.
So it's a good question because it shows all the layers, right? What release channel are you on? Are you government, commercial, things like that? But the short answer, I think, of your question is there is a newer version of Office than what you are showing in the chat there. So hopefully that helps.
Or at least gives that confirmation.
I don't know if there's any other GCC users out, on today that maybe could take a peek at their versions.
Yeah,
Put
that'd
in the
be
chat
cool.
what you've got. That might help as well. Hopefully you saw how to get there, right? Go in the Office app and go to Account, and it should be in the About area. So, all right. Again, continue to use chat or come off mute if you've got a question there.
Yeah, and to reference text predictions, and I have not tested for that one in my demo tenant.
I don't think. And would that be a web specific? Because I know I see text predictions and Outlook on the web. Let me check that here real quick.
Yep, and I'm going to go just pull up the message center because I think that's where I saw it surface, and I had
And
it
just
on
for
my
everyone,
list.
what we're talking about here is, those type aheads as you're typing and the system is trying to suggest to you what to do next. Trying to figure out if I can what I could do to make that happen. Yes, I'm not seeing it. I'm trying to come up with phrases that might induce a type ahead.
I know.
So I'm not really seeing it.
Okay, and actually, the announcement or the text predictions mentioned in the message center, I just did a search for predictions, references it for Android.
Okay.
So that could be, and I'll look at the roadmap too and see if there's a separate feature being tracked for text prediction otherwise.
Interesting. I do. I'm gonna check my commercial tenant too, but text prediction for Teams Mobile, right? Just to your point, Android there, iOS, and then Word for Windows and Outlook for Windows. Okay. So for Teams, mobile at this time.
Yeah, see, it does not yet have that third blue box filled in. So there's probably still some rollout action happening for that top one. It looks like all the other ones, though, are confirmed as rolled out. So if you see any other context not showing up in your Office version, it could be that it's just waiting for that most recent update. Hopefully you see those. Let's see, even if you were, and of course this says it's rolled out, but that doesn't mean it rolled out exactly in January as well. No, that GA date, January 2022, is probably when that would have hit for the Outlook text prediction. Oh, I'm sorry, that's for iOS. Never mind. Never mind.
think I've tried it here. I don't know what, I just don't know. Oh, I think that worked actually. I was trying to figure out what from what end. There we go.
There it
So
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
I figured I could come up with something.
You got it. Yep.
That is essentially what we're talking about. And I tab and it, you know, I was trying, yeah, that's the only phrase I can think of that that's the thing. But you know, there are others for sure. But that's what we're talking about. So it's showing here in Outlook desktop in a GCC environment as the roadmap, you know, stated. And apparently that's been there a while. So. Oh, okay. So I wonder if the RTMP might be useful. I know I see some folks in the room that have in the past asked, you know, questions about webinar related functionality.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah. Well, let's do some experimentation together if you guys are are cool with it being kind of tested out on the fly. I know it's there, and I do have a YouTube channel. And Ricardo, this is where your experience is going to come in handy because I have never gone live.
Oh, okay.
In YouTube. So if there's any magic or suggestions you have when I grab the links for connecting those two, that would be awesome. But we can take a tour here. I am sharing my screen. This is from my GCC tenant. I created a meeting earlier for this purpose, the RTMP demo meeting. Hopefully you all are familiar, at least when we say RTMP, and don't ask me what it stands for right this second, but it has to do with being able to stream your meeting out to a third party like YouTube or LinkedIn. And you would have to have the ability to do so through that third party tool. I'm signed in right now to my YouTube account. And from here, I do have the ability to go live, and I can get a link to do so from there. And then when I join the meeting here, that let's say is a town hall or a board meeting that the that my constituency likes to follow along with, I'll have the ability here. I always love when I'm looking at my other screen, but I'll have the ability to join this meeting, and as its organizer, I'll be able to add an app for performing the stream out to that third party. Under the more options in the meeting, hopefully you're aware we have meeting extensibility, meaning you can add all sorts of apps to your meeting. But the one required to do streaming out further is this one here. It's called Custom Streaming. It was an app built by Microsoft for Microsoft, and we want you to be able to use this to do that broadcasting that we've heard quite frequently as a need, particularly around those community type meetings. So from here, it's going to say, hey, we're glad you're here. And it's going to walk you through the process of doing so and give you a panel for entering that stream URL and a stream key. Once you put that in, you'll be able to say start streaming, and it'll carry it out to the broader web, wherever it is that you want to share. So the piece that I might need your help with, Ricardo, is on the YouTube side of things. Have you done the going live from YouTube?
So
do I just grab
so yeah, when I
URL?
stream multiple places. I happen to use another third party that manages that, but usually it's those two components you just mentioned, the URL and the key, that all the platforms tend to they do it the same. So I haven't hit these specific steps, but
okay.
There we go.
So it's, get set up the live stream now, and you can review some settings. So I'm going to say start. And first time creators, no setup required, use your existing webcam. You can have some fancier cameras and things. Ricardo is living proof of that. But I'm just going to go off of the camera I have here.
Yeah, and you may want to try the streaming software one. My thought is that next screen might give you the the two pieces of info you need, because that
Okay.
one is assuming you're going to use. So you probably want no there. Well, they're pretty strict about that.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking it's clean.
Yeah.
I got my professional voice on. It's clean. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I can see I have a stream key here and a stream URL. So I can copy that and go back over to my meeting. Oh, go back to my meeting. Enter that stream URL here. And then do the same from my key. Copy my key and paste that in.
And again, depending on what you all might stream to, the steps will be slightly different. But what is usually consistent is these two pieces of data. How you would get to them in LinkedIn Live or something like that will be a little different.
Good point. Good point. I'm going to click Start Streaming. It asks me to confirm, which is always good. We want to make sure we truly want to get out there and be live to the world. So mine is queuing up. And there probably is something connected.
Yeah, just like live events, most of the time, these kind of live stream things do have some delay as well. So there's delay in startup and probably some delay between live versus what's going out there.
Yep.
There we go. Yep.
So yeah, you'll want to set this up quite a few minutes ahead of time, especially in those public forum type meetings, and have it all ready to stream, but bake in that time to have that delay factored in. But yeah, we're actually live out now and can continue live from the YouTube perspective until I click End Stream, and my meeting is now out there for folks to consume in real time, or near real time, I should say, which is super helpful for those public meetings that I know many agencies across our nation do all the time. And prior to this being a part of the Teams meetings built-in features, you would need to use a third-party tool. You've probably heard Ricardo or Nash talk about OBS was something that would help you do this. But now with that custom streaming app baked right in and available at no cost to you, you can stream out.
And what is still different is I think this is it's a single stream, and that's where you want to play with this to see how it looks when you've got multiple people on camera, when you're sharing content. It's going to get one view. What's different with some of the other technologies like NDI is the ability to use software like OBS we just mentioned to get separate streams from that feed and do things with them, place video where you want it on the screen and so forth and so on. So this, I like this because it's one of those click and play kind of, one touch and you're up and running. Hopefully, got a feel for how easy this was essentially. The other one needs a little bit more, streaming knowledge. But this was really, you're up and running here pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, cool.
So that's good stuff. The other part of this too, then, for you to figure out in your strategy as you go this route is, thinking about the chat, right? Because at this point now you've got chat in your Teams meeting as well as chat on that YouTube stream. And so managing the two and, things like that. But very cool stuff, especially if this was a pain point for you. You were trying to, find an easy way to broadcast to other mediums. Well, where that day is finally here.
Right.
In an easy way, yeah. Good stuff.
Cool.
I see a hand up. Is that Tether?
It is. I actually had an off-the-wall question about streaming with, I've been looking into streaming technology to reach a wider audience. And one of the things I came across was a Stream Deck, but it only seems to have plugins for OBS. Does Teams have any plugins that go into a Stream Deck to help you manage the stream? And if that's way off topic, you can tell me so.
No, so Stream Deck, if we're talking about the same thing, it's kind of an appliance that that would complement what we just did here. It gives you buttons for to help you easily manage the features that you might. So, for instance, buttons for me to switch between video feeds. Trying to think of other examples. It is.
They also manage like the PowerPoint deck as well. So that's kind of how I was thinking of it for, is like if I had the Stream Deck to manage the PowerPoint, so my mouse isn't all over the place, watching people zoom my mouse all over, that gets distracting for the audience. So if I could manage it through like the Elgato Stream Deck,
yeah,
that just is an example of one that I'm aware of, then
right.
That would be less distracting visually for the audience. But I didn't know if it was compatible with this or not. So I was just curious if you had any experience with that, and if not, that's okay.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I use that with my streaming as well. I want to say it's compatible just because it's serving a different function than what we just did here. So, but I don't know. I'd have to think about that question in the context of what we just showed here. It's certainly compatible, if you went that OBS route and NDI. But I'd have to think about that in this context.
That's okay. I'll do some more research. I just figured if you happen to know.
Yeah, I do highly. I am a big fan of Stream Deck. I do use that all the time, though.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to be more engaging to the audiences. My job is embedded in the Department of State is a Microsoft 365 instructor. I teach webinars every other week or sometimes every week. So I'm just trying to find ways to become more engaging with that effort.
So to potentially help with that, and also to shamelessly plug myself. So I do webinars, Coffee for Teams, or Coffee with the Cowbell. So ak.ms/coffee for Teams. But that is where I am using streaming technology. I'm using I'm using Stream Deck to switch between VMs, my face, my PowerPoint. So if you were looking for at least what the end result looks like, that those streams, and they're online. You can see the past episodes, but those are there and give you a feel. Because I agree, it does give a more engaging and a more polished look to your presentation. So you can at least see what the end result is. I'm not an expert at it, but good enough to, be dangerous. So you could check that out and see what you think there.
Awesome. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yep. See some chat coming through as well.
Mm-hmm.
So just to cap off this streaming conversation, though. So yes, we finally get this easy button, in my words, easy button for streaming your full meeting. What is also there again is NDI for a little more advanced things as well. And then there's probably the third category, and Nash would really be able to dive into this, but probably just from the stream and live events perspective. I mean, I think there's some technology there that doesn't fall in these two categories. So a third way, and again, probably more advanced for high-end production on these streaming. So anyone that's trying to broadcast their meetings and live events to other platforms, there's now a growing suite of options for doing that. So there's certainly a yes answer to, can I stream my meetings to other platforms, and it's kind of now just which flavor of that do you want to pursue. Would be my thoughts. Good stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're here for my maiden RTMP voyage.
Yeah. Any other last comments or questions? We're at the hour here. I was happy that worked for you, Stacy. Usually demos are just.
I tempted all the gods on that one, I tell you.
Even the camera working, you know, you got your camera going in this meeting and you had it going in that one. I was very impressed.
Yeah, impressed and probably crossing fingers and toes at the same time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff, everybody. Glad y'all could check in. Sorry again for the link mishap, but I'm glad you guys made it. So we'll see you next week. Got the on-demand online, and see you at the next Cute for Teams.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out the blog for more content.